Okay, we're going to be talking about the writing process today, and this lecture may be review for many of you, but it is worth the review as it sets up how we will approach the writing process in this class. Now, writing is done in messy stages. We begin with our own ideas, and after we spend some time drafting and developing our thinking, only then are we ready to publish our work or share it with others. Oftentimes we share it first with a trusted peer, and then, after hearing constructive feedback, we go back and we revise some more. Or sometimes we go back to the planning stage and start again, or we discover that we need to do more research. We can go back to any part of the writing process at any time. This is the way professional writers work. It may not be pretty or linear or lockstep, but rather lots of little recursive loops that we keep circling back to. Generally, a writer does pre-writing or planning work first and decides on a topic. Before you begin writing, you may find brainstorming helpful. Writers will take a blank sheet of paper, write the topic on the page, then free associate by writing every single thought that comes to them to the mind. Some people make lists, others draw wheels or lines with arrows, or doodle, or ask questions, or do some discovery writing, also known as a free write. There is no need for complete sentences or correct grammar. The writer is just gathering information. If you are writing a research paper, you will need to collect and analyze evidence at some point in this process. But try writing as much as you can first before you move into research mode, and be sure to limit yourself so you don't get lost in possibilities. Next, a writer drafts. This means writing like you're running a race. You don't worry about grammar, correction, adequate development, or even spelling. The idea is to get your ideas written while outrunning the supercritical voice most of us have that states, oh, this idea is stupid, or we have the wrong word, or we can't do it. Writing as fast as you can allows you to outfox that inner critic and get something down on the page. This is using the creative part of the human mind. And creativity is as delicate as a rare orchid, in that inner critic interferes when we're trying to draft. It's like pouring salt water on that orchid. So write fast. The time for revision is later. If your mind goes blank, just write X, 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 X until the next thought comes and keep writing. Now, after that process, a writer goes back and rereads his or her draft. It's time to focus. The writer must decide, what exactly am I trying to say? What is my main message, my main point? Your main point differs from the topic, and that forms the message you want readers to understand. You can consider it an argument or a call to action or a way in which you want your readers to respond. For example, if you wrote about witnessing a fellow student treated badly because of her gender or because of his race, what message do you want to deliver? To whom? What do you want your audience to think about, to do, to feel? The answers to these questions can help any writer to create a strong, comprehensive focus. Now the revision process begins. Do I need to add more material? Is some of what I wrote not necessary or not supporting my main point? Should I reorganize what I have written? And if you have submitted your first draft to a peer, you can also think about, what do they suggest? They're your audience, and they're going to give you some feedback on what you can do to help your writing come across more clearly. Now, if you're working on an essay, you will need to decide how to organize your information. Don't worry, our textbook has lots of examples of these rhetorical forms to help you organize most essay types. But we do have narrative, descriptive, expository, and argumentative or persuasive. And you will we'll definitely focus for the purposes of this course on expository and persuasive writing. Now, finally comes the editing or correctness stage, when a writer reviews his writing sentence by sentence, trying to make sure that each one says exactly what is intended. The writer is not only working to correct mistakes, but also to give sentences style and flair. And there is a difference between editing and proofreading. Editing comes first, where you can do some line-by-line work, check out the mechanics of things, and proofreading is getting even more into the details of spelling and making sure that you're not missing any words. Okay, so this writing process order, which isn't really much of an order at all. The pre-write, collect, analyze, draft, focus, revise, and edit is important. If you do it in this way, it separates the creative phase, which uses a different part of the brain function, from the logical stage, which is the revision and editing. When you try to draft and revise at the same time, it's like trying to wash and dry your clothes at the same time. It does not work very well. So again, creativity is fragile. It only takes one harsh comment, even an inner comment like, I can't write, to knock creativity off of the rails. So the job of creating is to create, not to perfect. So we try to keep those two things separate. Perfection comes with logic, the revision and the editing. A writer needs to examine the bigger issues in a piece of writing before editing. For example, one of my friends threw out the first 3 chapters of a book on which she was working, and if she immediately jumped to the proofreading and editing stage at that point, it would have been a huge waste of time because she just wasn't there yet. So in the next video, I'm going to give you an example of how this writing process works. You can almost think of them as like rounds. So like in the planning, round 1, you're going to be doing some brainstorming, or you might do your research and collect information and analyze it. Then you're going to go to drafting round 1, and you're going to write like you're running a race. And then you might come back up to planning and say, okay, now I need to figure out what my focus is, or I'm going to look at what I wrote and I'm going to start organizing my ideas into an outline or group like ideas together. And then you're going to come down and you're going to start shaping your paragraphs. And then you're going to go and you're going to start revising and think about how you might want to refocus or restructure what you have. And then you might need to come back up and start drafting again. So all of these processes kind of interweave together to create your final product. There is no right or wrong way to do the writing process, but I do want you to try in this course to keep the drafting and the revision parts separate, so that when you're writing, you're just writing and you're not focusing on critiquing your writing. And then set aside a time to do that later, or ask a peer reviewer or me for some help. So that's it for the writing process. Please feel free to refer to this slide in particular as you go forward in your writing, because if you do get stuck, you can think about, well, what stage am I at right now, or what do I need to accomplish next? And that will usually get you going in the right direction.